Very good morning, Patreon subscribers. We'll start the dollar yen, and don't forget we've got the weekly open and daily open metrics. So these are your ATR targets: 129.49, 126.02. Now, probably worth noting the average line. They have sold it, but we need to come up quite a way before we breach the 50%, and so we had a big fall. And so by doing so, they've decided to sell it, but we'll need to see continuation on that selling below 50% ideally. And we see the reaction when we get the crossover. You know, we had quite a nice move, very big move. Don't forget this is H4 as well. So there's the movement from the crossover last time, from the high to the the low was 350 pips. So SLC is at the ATR long, so you can see how that's going to be an interesting confluence. And one below the SLC is 127.20, and so if we get another 50% crossover, we're going to see another huge move, because this one was 300 pips. So likewise, it means we're probably going to rally a lot. We probably might not come up to MP, but that is still going to be a resistance, isn't it? So we did the MP to resistance support, 128.37. That's interesting because we did that move. Okay, now if we've got support, we can potentially come up to pivot. We've got double confluence, we've got like a double hurdle in the way. So that's dollar yen, dollar Swiss. And then we've got CAD data tomorrow. Very choppy dollar Swiss, very horrendous. See how many times we cross monthly pivot? Too many times, really. Quite horrendous. One above, 94.25. There's your ATR targets, so that's where you could potentially look to TP. And the one below is at 92.15. And we're above the weekly open. We've got the daily open. So monthly pivots are going to be a challenge. We might chop again on monthly pivot, so be really careful there. Using the monthly pivot to resistance was quite tricky on this particular pair, because we're consolidating and ranging. We're not trending on this market. See how we're just zigzagging all over the place. So I mean, this you could probably argue was like a downtrend here. You see, we created lower highs, but here we just created all different mixed signals. So be careful on the dollar Swiss, Aussie, and we'll look at euro and pound. So be careful of the dollar Swiss. So this is obviously trending higher. You can see that, can't you? So you're looking to ideally buy the dips. We are a buy at the big picture. We've got monthly support. We've got resistance now acting as a support. So an eye on 69.31. We've taken out some liquidity below 69.55. And the one that... Oh, okay, so we just need to wait for the data to calculate. So the one below is at 68.50. We need for this to hurry up and get the stop loss cluster data. But there's your ATR long targets based on the weekly open. So 70.59 potentially, or 68.74. I'm not sure what's going on here with the stop loss cluster. I'm on a fast wired connection. What I might do after this video, I might reboot my router, because it should be going a lot quicker. We'll come back to Aussie, and we'll try and get the stop loss cluster. You don't want to be waiting for that to load. So it's obviously having to think about it, isn't it? Euro. And then hopefully it's loaded the stop loss clusters. So there's the one there, 108.80. And the one below is at 107.25. Monthly pivot. Important that we've got resistance now at 108.26. So be careful there. Potentially it could be a good resistance, to be honest with you. Where we can target the SLC, because we've got resistance above resistance and acts as a support, you see. So you want to be an eye on 108.26, and we are very sideways on that. And we'll look at the pound, and then we'll come back to the Aussie, and it might have loaded that data. So that's an important level for the EU. We've got the German CPI and Italian CPI tomorrow. And no doubt there's going to be a yield difference between the German yield and the Italian yield, and that could spell a bit of problem for the euro, where the Germany has to sort of buffer a lot of slack from Italy. So we might see a widening on the spread between the German and Italian yields tomorrow, and that might spook the bulls, the big fish on the euro. So we'll have to wait and see for that. Tomorrow's going to be a big day for the euro. So pound 122.90 and 121.45. Monthly pivot, we had a nice respect off it, that wick. ATO longs here, ATO shorts here, and it's hard to say what's going to happen here. We're sideways. Above MP, we can target resistance. However, if the euro does fall, then it probably drag the pound with it. And I think tomorrow is going to be quite tricky. It might be quite bearish for the euro because of that CPI data from Germany and Italy. So let's look at AU, and then we can wrap up. And no. I wonder if we actually loaded the order book. It might tell us a bit more. Order book. We can actually see it by eye, can't we? So we're looking for nodes. So there's that volume node, that SLC, sticking out like a sore thumb. So that's why it got probed. So this one would be NA because we were taking it out. This is old data because we're waiting for the data to load. So potentially there is one here at 70.27. This one would have been taken out by price action. So you're looking at about 70.30-ish for the new stop loss cluster once it loads. So I'm not sure what's going on here. It could be my computer, and I think what I'll do is do a reboot, and then we'll see how we go. So trade carefully, and I'll speak to you guys soon.